In 2012, there was a study that came out, and what they concluded at the end of this study was they think that people might have a lower biological age if they can get up off of the floor without using their hands. Now, it was one study. I like people to kind of understand that there is a lot of value to being stronger in your legs, having more grace getting up and core stability, but is it necessarily linked to being able to live longer? That's a bit of a stretch, but because it is so valuable to be able to get up just in general with more grace, I recently made a video on some strategies that would help people be able to get up off of the floor without using their hands. Now, I got a lot of comments from people that were saying, but what if I have knee arthritis or hip arthritis? I've got these physical limitations that would keep me from doing that. And so what I wanted to do for you today in this video was go over a few strategies and tips and tricks on how you can develop stronger legs if you have pains or limitations in your hips or your knees. So I'm going to go over a wide variety of exercises. These are just to give you some ideas. So none of these exercises are going to be really in depth, but I have a lot of other videos that kind of break these down and put them more in depth. So this video is just going to give you a lot of ideas, and I'm going to use some that have some equipment, and I'm going to have some that are just body weight that you could do without equipment. So I'm going to mingle these together. But the first one, because I like this so much, for seniors that want to get stronger in their legs, but they have those limitations. The squat is painful for me, and I have a hard time doing it. What's great about this, and these are called suspension trainers. This brand is TRX. TRX is probably one of the more popular brands with suspension trainers. And you don't have to have a gym set up like this. You could use these at your own house. They've got them that can secure to a wall, that can secure behind a door. So they've got options for these. But here's what's great about these. You hold on to it and you can kind of lean back a little bit. Because when you do a squat, a lot of people that if they don't have support, when they do a squat, they come forward and those knees go forward. And that puts a lot of shear, a lot of stress on their knees. So if you can hold on to something where you're leaning back a little bit more and do your squat, watch as I come down, my knees don't go forward. So that helps keep the pressure off of my knees. The other value and benefit of this here is I get to use as much body weight as I need to pull me up. So it's almost like you're getting a nice whole body exercise. So less force on the knees, as much body weight as you need to pull yourself up and through here. And then the reps and the sets, that's going to be different for everybody, but ideally you're shooting for, let's say, 15 of these, and then you do 3 to 5 sets. If you get to the point that that's easy, you could up it or progress the exercise. Let me show you a progression right now. So let's say you get to the point that's easy. Well, let's add a little bit of balance. So there's something called a lunge. Now, when you use the TRX straps, you do a reverse lunge, which means you're just going to step backwards. Now, when you're in this position here, you're a little less steady. The foundational support, you don't have as much, which means you got to use more core strength in this here. So these reverse lunges is take a step back, step it back forward, and you just alternate this reverse lunge. And this is going to be a little bit more force on the legs. So the value of that is it's going to get you stronger. It's that progression to make things a little bit more challenging and to get you stronger. So there is your alternating reverse lunge. So something with less equipment but needs more wall space is to do a squat, but you would put a ball behind you. So the same idea. So instead of holding on to something, now I just get to lean against something. So as I lean against this here, that same idea. I can step out as I do the squat. Again, since I'm leaning back, notice how it keeps the pressure off my knees. Now, if you've never done these before, if you're starting out, start simple, stay within your safe range for you. And so that might look a little bit more like this. That's the great thing about this exercise, is you can go as far as you feel comfortable with to do that squat. But you could stay in a much safer range if you need to. And then that same idea, maybe 10 to 15 of these and do 3 to 5 sets of these and get those legs nice and strong. So one more option for leg strength. This is going to focus a little bit more on the backs of the hips, but it's low body weight, low force through the joints. So very protective. It's just a simple bridge, and I'm going to give you some different strategies. So your basic bridge is you're laying on your back, your knees are bent, and you press your hips up. How high can you get them without arching your back too much? So you don't want to be too arched there. You want your spine to be somewhat neutral, but you go in here. And then the options with these are down and up, and you could do several of those. Another option, and a lot of people like to work the stability with these, and so they'll do a hold. And so we'll hold, and then maybe do a few more down and up. A couple of other options are the single leg. So let's say I brought that there, and the same thing, I could go down and up with a single leg. Or that might be challenging, but hey, you know what? I just want to alternate the single legs in through there. So really get the backs of the hips, the booty muscles. Now my final tip for you, especially if you really want to progress and be able to get up off of the floor without using your hands, is to be childlike in your mindset, to explore, to play, to listen to your body. And I say childlike because children, they'll go down on the floor and they just play. And sometimes we lose that ability, that desire to just get down on the floor and move around. And so one thing that you could do is just, can you sit in this crisscross applesauce kind of position and do some stretch? Because working some mobility, just some simple, let me just get in here and bend. Of course, stay within your own limitations in there. Maybe now use your hands as much as you need to. That's what this video is for. Now, some other great things are getting in this, what they call a hip switch position. Now, a lot of times when you see this in athletic training, they get very tall and upright. But for you, go ahead and lean to one side. Lean behind you. And then do this here. You can even lay here. This is great for hip mobility. That mobility is necessary a lot of times to help get you more, to be able to get you up off of the floor without using your hands. Your hips, if your hips are too tight, you're not going to have the fluidity to move the way that you need to. So you work with these here. These are great. And or, like I said, you can kind of be here, and this behind you here. And then from these positions, this is where you can really try to practice, can I just bring myself up? So you'll use some core strength to do this, and you go here. And you could just practice these. Use your hand as much as you need to. Because let's say you start to use your hands for this. I have to use my hands. I can't do it without my hands. Well, you only get better at something by doing it over and over again. So maybe if you did this every day, maybe in the course of a month, you'd get to the point, hey, I can actually get up without my hands there. And then, of course, change over and do the other side and practice that there. And then the next phase to maybe start to get up there is I'm here. And then once you're here, this is where your lunge comes in. So there you go. There are a few tips and tricks to help you maybe develop a little bit more mobility and leg strength. And ideally, maybe you don't completely get up off of the floor without using your hands, but could you do it a little bit more gracefully? And I think that those are some ideas that will help you. So I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, please do me a favor, encourage me to make more videos, give us the thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and or leave a question or a comment below.